No mic for Grasso tonight. That's a new resolution. No public comments.
Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. This is the February 27th, 2014 meeting of the East Fishkill Town Board. Would you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Really don't have any announcements to make tonight, but one thing did strike me as I left the house tonight. My wife said to me before I was coming here, she said, "Do you want dinner?" And just before we left, we were checking the web. Unfortunately, with the governor's announcement on Monday morning, it appeared that we would be spared job layoffs at IBM. I haven't confirmed it, but on the web it appears maybe the layoffs have begun. So I'm really not sure where we're going with this. The governor's initiative of saving so many jobs in the Hudson Valley, so many tech jobs by until 2016. And I've spoken to other people. Nobody's really sure what the governor's proposing here. So, seeing the layoffs may have started today, which was unfortunate. We thought we were going to dodge that bullet. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, we won't be spared the layoffs in East Fishkill, but the way things are going, and with the governor's initiatives to move chip manufacturing to the northern part of the state, it's a tough situation for the town. And under receipt and file, I did add something under receipt and file. I had given the board a letter that I'd written to the governor on behalf of the town board, and we'll just go through that a little bit. A little unsettling news. I was kind of hoping that the town of East Fishkill and the East Fishkill plant would be spared, but remains to be seen. And I would say the governor hasn't really been clear about what this initiative to save these jobs in the Hudson Valley are, but we'll have to see what happens. That's my announcement, an announcement I wished I didn't have to make. With that, Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Councilperson Cassidy?
Present.
Councilperson D'Alessandro?
Present.
Councilperson Franco?
Present.
Councilperson Marinaro?
Present.
Supervisor Hickman?
Present. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Everybody's been provided the minutes of the January 16th, 2014 meeting. Madam Clerk, has anybody made any changes, additions, or corrections?
No, they have not.
There being none, do I have a motion to approve the minutes as submitted for January 16th, 2014?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The minutes have been approved. Under receipt and file, we had one letter on the agenda from ABC Corporate Awards thanking the building department. And one thing I say, a lot of times people don't get the credit they're due, and I'm very, very happy with our staff in the building department. To East Fishkill Building Department, just a little thank you for your professional and friendly service that I received these past 2 weeks. I must say that everyone that I talked to in this department was very helpful in getting me the papers that I needed. My family and I have lived here for 40 years and feel very honored to have all of your help. All of you help us over the years in our needs. Thank you again, and we feel very proud that you're all serving the community in a very warm manner. So that's a nice letter from one of our constituents that had some dealings with our building department. As I said a few minutes ago, I did write a letter to Governor Cuomo. I sent it to my board for review and comment. Basically, this was on February 7th. Dear Governor Cuomo, I'm compelled to write to you in regards to what my town board and I consider actions by the state of New York, which are not only unfair, they negatively impact our business climate in Dutchess County, as well as our biggest employer, International Business Machines. First, and I go through a few things, Dutchess County and several other counties north of the city have been charged an MTA tax, a tax which is detrimental to our economy due to the fact that any business can simply relocate to a neighboring non-MTA tax county and immediately receive a sizable payroll reduction. Second, the state has established tax-free zones for new businesses locating on or near college campuses. It's unfair to those of us who do not have a college campus. Third, for the year, the state's strategy has incentivized high-tech research and development and manufacturing in the Capital District. And now the state is pushing for future chip manufacturing in the Mohawk Valley. Investing in the revival of the depressed areas of our state is laudable, but not at the cost of another. Microchip manufacturing has been a staple of the East Fishkill and Dutchess County economy since the 1960s. Moving this industry north will certainly devastate the thousands of employees that are currently employed at IBM and the many, many businesses that support our largest employer. And finally, the corporate tax elimination for manufacturers located to the north of Dutchess County. Again, this unfairly penalizes those businesses that are located in our county. And then I did a quick summary, sent this to the governor, discussed this letter with County Executive Molinaro, who has actually been in touch with the governor's office on a weekly, many times during the week matter. And we're all very concerned, and we'll see what happens. We had thought possibly with the announcement Monday morning that things were not going to be as tenuous as they are, but unfortunately, that may not be the case. So I thank my board for supporting me in that letter. And one last thing I will say, if the governor's initiative, where he's going to guarantee jobs until the end of 2016 in the Hudson Valley, I would say that gives us a little timetable that I think we need to move as quickly as we can to diversify. We have a 2-year window. Hopefully, we'll be fine in 2 years. But I'm concerned, and I would urge my board and my staff, and we've been looking at a lot of different projects to diversify in the town of East Fishkill because we can't sit idly by. So that is my report and my receive and file. Thank you. The first matter of business tonight is public hearings. We have a public hearing on the proposed local laws to modify the zoning and subdivision laws, which we discussed at our last workshop meeting. So with that, do I have a motion to open the public hearing on the proposed local laws?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The public hearing is now open. We discussed this, my board discussed this. We had our panel of professionals last week. And I'd just like to ask the board, any other comments, any further discussion, anything you'd like to ask any of our professionals here tonight on the proposed zoning changes?
I have a question regarding the gasoline local law that we have. We're amending that law.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we doing that?
Well, as we said at the last meeting at the workshop, when we had our professionals here, we had our planner was with us. These all came to us. These are issues that they had seen brought up over and over again over the years with the planning and zoning department, especially with the planning department. So our planner had made a list of issues that they felt should be addressed. A lot of these zoning ordinances are very old, and that was one of them that they had brought forward. The planning board had reviewed it, and they thought that these were good laws. But any specific questions about it? Don't like it? Change it?
That law over there initially created, I believe, in 1997. It's a town law that restricts anybody to open within 1,000 feet.
1,000 foot
Right.
rule.
Right now we're amending the law. I mean, what is the reason for that? If we're trying to deregulate, I'm all in for it.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see anywhere on the county roads and state roads, anybody that wants to open up, as long as they comply with federal EPA and state regulation. I don't see a reason why we still have to bother with this local law. I mean, I would take it off the books completely.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how the rest of the board feels about it. If you go read, it's 185 subsection 194-85.
Mm-hmm.
It was amended in 1997.
Right.
There was the 1,000 feet law. Mm-hmm. Now we're trying to amend that. I mean, I would take both of these local laws off the books.
I would,
We try to create business in the community. As I said, as long as whoever wants to open a business, a gas station, complies with all the state, why we're putting additional restriction.
okay.
So,
Actually, I mean, just maybe, the law right now says that there has to be 1,000 feet of separation between every gas station in the town. The genesis of this came that there was an extensive case before the zoning board over how do you measure it, and the problem so this local law amendment tonight would say, doesn't take away the 1,000-foot rule, but it says that if there's an interstate like 84 to Taconic, which is what the zoning board case was, then the measurement stops at that, and you start on the other side.
again, Tom, I agree and I understand what we're trying to do.
So
but
this
again-
is lessening it, and obviously
Right.
that would be
If we are-
prerogative of the board.
If we are trying to deregulate, let's take the law off the books completely.
I think the
Anybody that-
genesis of it was the last town master plan. I think the master plan had a discussion in it about gas stations, and I think at the time what happened when the zoning ordinance, when that came up, the community didn't really want to see gas stations, all along 52 and 82, and they thought that
Well,
1,000-foot separation
Yeah.
was a reasonable
If I may,
separation.
Tom, I don't have my zoning book in front of me, but I believe it restricts gas stations for certain areas. You can't be next to schools, you can't be next to certain other. And the idea of zoning is that you really don't want gas stations, or certain uses in any, you want to kind of regulate and have an idea where these different uses are going to be. Now, I have no problem if you would like to just take it out of law. I won't agree with that
I would like
tonight.
to do that, yeah.
I would consider looking at it again, but I certainly won't sit here and say tonight, let's just strike it from the law, because I do have a suspicion that there are some advantages to have it in when you want to regulate certain aspects of zoning. Is that your only issue with the law that's before us tonight, was the gas station, or did you have others?
Yeah. that one.
Okay, well, I would propose this, why don't we just strike the gas station from this, and we can look into it further. I understand that you want to just do away with the law, and I would not say that tonight, but certainly we can look at the merits of the law.
Very good.
Does it need to be removed entirely, or even modified further?
Well,
So,
can I ask, the 1,000 rule separation, if you're in Hopewell in the village, and there is the Shell gas station on the corner, and there's the Mobil. So if somebody buys the M&T Bank, if this law isn't there, they could put a gas station there. So,
and I think that's what originally, they didn't want to see gas station, gas station, gas station, they tried to make some separation. And of course, I agree with the attorney, we have to go back and take a look at why the law came to be what it was. So,
My
but I-
point, Nick, is that by putting this clause into this law, or amending this law the way we have it now, we are facilitating, and I'm not against that, okay?
So we're
But
lessening-
that restriction that we have there,
Yes.
I would see it taking it off altogether.
so
If
we're-
somebody is on a state or county road and complies with all the laws, why should the town restrict that person from opening their doors?
well,
well-
I guess it depends on how many gas stations you don't care are in a row.
the-
I mean, I think I agree that if they want to open up a gas station, like, to amend the law, the reason was, when I spoke with the people on the planning board, was so if you have an intersection like 84 to Taconic, that is a more heavily traveled road. So if you had it on either side, then okay, that's great, because they have more choice and they can have a gas station on either
Yeah.
side of the
And
entrances.
access in and out is easier
And
instead of having to
yeah,
cross over the
and
lanes.
that's great.
Yeah.
But I don't think that we should have gas stations next to each other, like exactly in the village
Yeah.
here. If we remove this law, then it would we, by right, am I wrong? By right, they would be allowed, that property zone,
In the
they
B1
could.
zones, you
Yeah.
would be allowed gas stations.
So
without
even
the
if we
separate-
fought
we
it
take
and the
out.
public didn't want it, it didn't matter. By right, they could
By
do
right,
it.
as of right, they would be allowed.
Again, Nick, coming from a business background, I think that we're favoring certain, and we're not favoring the whole community. So, again, I make the point that,
That's, yeah. And one point I would like to make is, and I know some people don't care for it, but when you talk about planning, and planning a town, or planning a village, or planning a city, you have to look at zoning, because zoning dictates your land use, and you could just open it up and say, you can do these anywhere, or you can regulate it. or sometimes you can overregulate it.
Well, I
So-
agree with the councilman that less
It should be
regulation
less.
there is better.
I think we all
But,
agree it
I mean,
should be
to
less.
just eliminate it, I
But
don't
I would
agree
say
with that.
tonight, if we'd rather take, I'm proposing taking no action on that law tonight and reviewing it, or would you like to take action to lessen it to this extent tonight and go further with it at a later time? Because I would like to see, if you say that we have to depend on the New York State and the federal regulations, which we know depending on state and federal regulations, how that can be.
Significant. Yes,
You know, I
Right,
couldn't
those,
say tonight, I couldn't say tonight eliminate the whole thing, so we have to do some more research. So my
Yeah, let's-
question to my board tonight is, do we want to lower it to this, modify it to this standard that's proposed tonight, and then look forward if we want to go further? Or I would say, in that case, I would not modify it at all, I would just leave it as it stands and then look into it. It's really up to the board.
Yeah, I would go that route.
You lower it for tonight, or just
I would
not
just
even
leave it the
consider
way it
tonight?
is until further discussion and investigation.
Councilman?
Is there anybody in front of the planning or zoning boards that are looking at this right now?
This is just that list that they compiled
Yeah.
for the last few years, so. I mean, there's nothing pressing on this, and I certainly wouldn't want to make any decision on something like this tonight. I mean, I was comfortable with relaxing the rules. Our planner had, put these rules together, and the planning board had agreed with these, so I would say we could just adopt the zoning amendments, accepting the one on the gas stations. That'd be my proposal tonight.
I don't have a
You
problem with
okay
that.
with
That sounds good to me.
Okay, and then we will revisit the gas stations another time. I would just like to ask the attorney too, Tom, we did get a referral back from the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development. It didn't appear like they had anything major.
No,
to say.
the planner did just, one of the definitions was just clarify with a couple of words as recommended by the county.
Okay.
And they did leave it to the board's discretion. They had no other opinions about
So
it.
we're good with that?
Right.
Okay. All right, is there anybody in the audience who would like to speak for or against the proposed local laws modifying the zoning and subdivision laws? Okay, there being, yeah, Marty. Yes, Marty? You know you have to stand at the podium. Okay.
I totally disagree with Emmanuel. I think we've got enough of gas stations in this town.
Yeah.
You got a gas station within 5 miles of each other. They're all over the place and got a lot of polluting of groundwater. It's too dangerous.
Okay.
I see no reason why we should have more gas stations. If you can't go a mile to get gas, you shouldn't even be driving. Sorry, Emmanuel.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else in the public like to speak for or against the zoning, proposed zoning changes? Okay, there being none, do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carried. Public hearing is now closed. Do I have a motion to adopt a negative declaration regarding the proposed local laws to modify the zoning and subdivision
So moved.
code? Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Do I have a motion to adopt the local laws as submitted, accepting the local law pertaining to gasoline stations?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much. We have a new local laws, our proposed local laws to modify zoning and subdivision have been amended. Tom, we will sit down and chat with our planner, and we'll take a look at the gas station.
Maybe we'll put together a little packet of where it came from, what it says.
So that's what I'd like to
Yes.
see. I'd like to see how it came about and what effect the other local law, the federal and state laws would have on this. So I'd like to do a little bit more homework on this. So. All righty, thank you very much. Now I have on the agenda, public comments on agenda items only. Is there anybody in the audience like to speak on any agenda items?
I'd like to question resolution number 1, adopt the cell phone policy. I was looking on the website, I didn't see any information disclosed about how much the savings is, how many town employees are required to have cell phones, what the cost per cell phone is being, how much the cost per cell phone that's being given back to each town employee that uses their own cell phone would be. And I'm curious to know what that information is.
Okay. And if you would, Mark, the one thing I would like to say just about the cell phone policy is you see several people have cell phones already, and they don't want to have 2 cell phones, or some have 3 cell phones. So a lot of employees that are required to carry cell phones would rather just use their own cell phone. We have no problem with that as long as it's a net zero cost to the town of East Fishkill. And that's where we are. So Mark, if you'd like to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, the genesis of this was a number of employees asking if we, rather than us providing them with a cell phone, if we could reimburse them the cost of the town. So there is no cost savings to the town. There's no cost nor savings. It really is a convenience for the employees. I have a list, if you'd like, I don't have it with me, of the employees, but it's primarily people who are out in the field during the day, the highway crew, the police, town board members, anyone who...
We're not talking about people that have an office job that are sitting at a desk by a phone all
No, like I don't
day
have a
anyway.
cell phone because I'm attached mostly to the office. So I have a personal cell phone. I won't be eligible for this rebate. The amount this year would be $18 per month. That's based on the average of the current monthly cost for the people that have been assigned a cell phone. This is mostly just a convenience for the employees.
I understand that part of it. My concern is, I believe in the resolution, it states that this is a savings or a cost reduction of some sort.
It says at no increase of cost to the town.
Right.
Okay.
Be reimbursed equal to the average amount. So I don't see, this is not portrayed to be a savings. This is really just,
So normally we would provide these people with a cell phone. Instead, you're just giving them the cost.
to use their
They're
own.
using
And
their
it's,
own.
it's a lot more convenient for everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else in the audience like to speak on any agenda items? Okay. There being none, we'll start with the resolutions. The first being the resolution to adopt the cell phone policy. Whereas there are employees, we just went through all this, but as we know, there's employees that are required by the town to have cell phones, and some would like to use their own, and this will be paid to them just in lieu of what we would be paying for their cell phones if we supplied it. So do I have a motion to adopt the cell phone policy?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much.
Now, all these, just one quick thing.
Sure.
These numbers will, well, I tried, you go too quick, you're like an auctioneer
Next time
tonight.
I'll stop.
You're like an auctioneer, like on that Geico commercial. These phone numbers will
yeah.
become
One of-
town property.
Yeah,
Yes.
one of the requirements was that these phone numbers be published to the same extent
Now,
that
the
they're
town-
the one
currently.
question I'd have on that too, at the same time, if you take your phone number in, now that it's a town number and you gotta transfer it, you need a letter from the town to change it over?
I don't think we're requiring people to keep the same cell phone number that they have through the town. If
Yeah,
they-
but if you wanted to, are you gonna need a note?
Yes,
You do?
Yeah.
you need to abandon the number.
The town's gotta abandon the number to turn it over.
The town will have to abandon that phone number so the employee can use it privately,
Okay, that's
which
all.
is what I did.
Okay.
Yep, that's it.
Okay. Thank you. All righty, resolution number 2, approve the naming of the road in Saxon Woods subdivision to be Saxon Woods Court. Councilman Marinaro, would you read the resolution, please?
Whereas a new subdivision is approved by the town board known as Saxonwood subdivision will be filed with the Dutchess County Clerk, and whereas it is the desire of the developer to have the public road to be built within the subdivision, said subdivision, named as Saxon Woods Court, and whereas said name has been deemed to be available for 911 purposes, now therefore be it resolved that the proposed public road in the Saxon Woods subdivisions be and hereby is named as Saxon Woods Courts, and be it further resolved that while said road is not yet dedicated as a public road, the town clerk shall notify E911 of the naming of the road, but shall not notify the postal or school authorities until such time as the road is accepted as a public highway.
So what this is actually doing, so we're naming the road for E911 purposes, but we're not actually taking over the road, so the post office and the school buses still will not go down it until we accept the road as a town road. Do I have a motion to approve the naming of the town road in Saxon Woods subdivision?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 3 is schedule a public hearing to consider a local law to allow large-scale recreation facilities in the I-zone and refer the same to planning board and county and adjoining towns. Whereas an application to amend the town zoning ordinance to add a proposed special permit for large-scale recreation uses, indoor, outdoor, in the I-zone has been submitted by Sports King, Inc., and the town board wishes to refer the request for the comments of the town and planning boards that the petition to amend the zoning ordinance submitted by Sports King, Inc. be and hereby is referred to the town and county planning boards. Be it further resolved that the town clerk will forward said petition. Do I have a motion to refer the rezoning petition to the planning board and the county and town local planning board?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? This is just going to set the application for the Sports Dome project that's come to us. We received, I think, about a week ago when we got the final prints. And this is just really to move it to the planning board for their review, and then we'll be coming back to us. And I think that would be good to have the planning board take a look at. They've looked at it conceptually, but this would be a good start. So, that being said, do I have a motion and I have a second?
John, I just have a comment if I can.
Sure.
I would appreciate when the planning board is reviewing this project, I know that this is going to be great for East Fishkill, but to take a really good look at the way it's going to affect the infrastructure in our community. I saw the plans, and I see that they're asking to put restaurants and all facilities in this unit. I've had some experience with these type of units. Usually they come and they spend the whole day over there. They don't leave the premises.
Okay.
So
Well,
if we try to create something to impact the community, I think
well, we want a
special
positive
attention-
impact. We don't want a negative impact.
No, no.
That's for sure.
special attention has to be
Yeah,
so that the whole community could benefit,
absolutely.
not just
Absolutely, not just them. And I mentioned this to the people, the applicant. I told them that, and part of the secret process will be they will provide to us the economic benefit of their project coming to the town of East Fishkill. And I impressed upon them that it's very important to us because we don't want to take business away from our local businesses, but we just want to enhance it.
Right.
So we will be waiting to see, as far as SECRA, they will provide an economic assessment. So certainly we'll look forward to seeing that. I have a motion, I have a second to refer the rezoning petition to planning town and county planning board. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Number 4 is a resolution supporting New York State legislation to eliminate the MTA tax in Dutchess County. Councilman D'Alessandro, would you read that resolution, please?
Whereas the proposed 2014-15 New York State budget includes a provision that would eliminate the corporate income tax on manufacturers for all of the state, except for counties in the MTA region, including Dutchess County. And this proposal will drive manufacturing jobs out of our communities. A manufacturing business in Dutchess County would pay a 6.5 corporate tax, while a business in Ulster, Columbia County would have no corporate tax. And the Poughkeepsie, Newburgh, Middletown metro area is one of only 2 New York regions regions to lose private sector jobs in 2013. And whereas proposals to split New York State into separate tax zones are divisive and pit New Yorkers against each other, and now therefore be it resolved that the town of East Fishkill supports the elimination of the MTA tax in Dutchess County and include Dutchess County in the area for the elimination of the corporate income tax on manufacturers. Copy of this resolution is to be forwarded to the town state representatives.
Thank you, Councilman. Very important that we get the message out to our state reps. Again, I don't feel that we're being dealt with fairly by New York State in regards to the manufacturers, the income tax of manufacturers, and the MTA tax obviously has been just a terrible detriment. Do I have a motion to approve that resolution?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. I don't think we can state our position strongly enough. Resolution number 5. Councilman Franco, we had actually had some applicants for these 2 positions on the Recreation Advisory Board. As liaison to the Recreation Advisory Board, I know you've spoken to the chairman.
Yes, and we're all in agreement, and I'd like to make a motion right now to nominate Stephen Fells for the 5-year term and Tammy Newman for the 2-year term on the Rec Advisory Board to fill those positions.
Okay. Great, thank you. I would say we actually had 3 applicants. We have 3 applicants for various board positions, and we have some very good applicants. We do have an opening on the Conservation Advisory Council. So do I have a motion to appoint Stephen Fells to the 5-year unexpired term of John Vecchio and Tammy Newman to fill the 2-year position previously held by Dominic Rath? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
I
Aye.
will abstain from
Oh, I'm
voting
sorry.
on this.
Any discussion? Sorry about that.
I will abstain from voting on this.
Okay.
I thought the interview process went well. I talked to the chairman of our Rec Advisory Board, and he was in agreement. We had 3 great candidates, and I can't wait to start working with Tammy and Stephen, and look forward to it. Monday's your first meeting, 7 o'clock.
Okay. And I'll read the
Don't be late.
resolution quickly. Whereas the town board previously created Recreation Advisory Board, said board is comprised of 7 members who serve as staggered terms. John Vecchio recently tendered his resignation, and it is a desire of the board to appoint new members to these open positions. Now therefore be resolved that Stephen Fells be and hereby is appointed to fill the 5-year unexpired term of John Vecchio, and be it further resolved that Tammy Newman be and hereby is appointed to fill the 2-year term previously held by Don McGrath. A motion, a second. All those we voted, did we take a vote? Yes. We took a vote. And I would just like to say that I think they're both with us tonight. Tammy, are you here? Stephen, would you guys stand up really quick? I'd like to congratulate you. Welcome you aboard. And one thing I would like to say about our volunteer boards, I don't know what we would do without you. And I know you're going to be putting in a lot of hours for the town of East Fishkill, our rec programs, and our children. And we thank you. We can't thank you enough. So welcome aboard.
John, I'd like to say, too, that Don McGrath seats being replaced, but he's irreplaceable.
You know what? You're absolutely correct, Nick. He's one of the smartest men I know, and dedicated to the town of East Fishkill. I forget how long he served as the chairman of the Recreation Board, but he was chairman, and he's been very, very responsible for a lot of the good things that have happened in this town. So, resolution number 6. Appoint new dispatcher in the police department, whereas a vacancy for full-time dispatcher exists in the police department. The civil service list has been received by the town. The chief has interviewed potential candidates from the civil service list and has recommended hiring Jamie Marzotto to the town board. Now therefore be resolved that town board does hereby appoint Jamie Marzotto to the position of full-time dispatcher in the town police department from the civil service list, and be it further resolved that said employee shall serve the required probationary period set forth in civil service law. The town board and I met with Jamie. We reviewed the file. We discussed this appointment with the captain. So that being said, do I have a motion to appoint Jamie Marzotto as a full-time dispatch?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in, I'll do a roll call vote. Councilman Carol, would you do a roll call vote?
Councilperson D'Alessandro?
Aye.
Councilperson Cassidy?
Aye.
Councilperson Franco?
Aye.
Councilperson Marinaro?
I will abstain from voting on this.
Supervisor.
Supervisor Hickman?
I will vote aye.
Sorry.
Thank you very much. With that said, we'd like to welcome Jamie. You want to stand up? We make everybody stand up here. Jamie, congratulations. I know the captain didn't tell you were going to have to stand up if you came here tonight, but congratulations, and we look forward to having you as a part of our police team. They're a great team. Thank you very much. All right, moving right along. Councilman Cassidy, would you read resolution number 7?
Whereas Moore Road is a public road in the town which connects to Benton Moore Road, which is a public road and in the town of Beekman. And whereas the town of Beekman has placed weight restrictions of 5 tons on Benton Moore Road, and whereas it is appropriate to protect the narrow road in East Fishkill. Now therefore be resolved that Moore Road in East Fishkill shall be posted with a 5-ton weight limit, local delivery in East Fishkill, and be it further resolved that the highway superintendent is authorized to post the road.
Thank you. Local delivery in East Fishkill is accepted. So if you have fuel tank, fuel delivery or something like that. So, and we've sat down, town attorney, town engineer, and I have sat down with our highway superintendent, and he agrees that this is a good move to protect our road in the town of East Fishkill, one of our older roads. So, with that, do I have a motion to authorize the restriction of commercial traffic of over 5 tons on Moore Road?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Number 8 is to authorize the payment of the town's share of the East Fishkill landfill expense semi-annually in advance to the town of Fishkill. And as I sent out an email to the town board members earlier this week, what had happened, East Fishkill and the town of Fishkill share a joint landfill up in Wickapee off of Van Wyck Road. I'd have to say, because it goes back ways, I believe it's probably in the late 70s. It was subsequently closed down. We don't own the property. The property has been leased from some property owner up there for as long as I can remember. When it was closed down, I believe, and I don't know what board formed this, I'd have to say it was back in the 70s or 80s. They formed a joint landfill board to oversee that landfill. It was closed down. DEC has some very strict regulations about what we have to do when we close the landfill, which we're in compliance with. There's a lot of work to do with the landfill. When you have a landfill, you always have landfill. So we have maintenance, mowing. What we did actually years ago when I first became town supervisor, we were hauling away leachate. We had a contract to haul away leachate. And it was costing a lot, especially if you had a wet winter or wet summer. It was costing quite a bit of money. So what we did is we built an artificial wetland system in there, and we got a grant from New York State, DC, and we built an artificial wetlands, and it reduced the cost. But these costs never go away because there are certain costs to maintaining the wetland system. There's piping, there's a few pumps, there's an aerator, that kind of stuff. We have to mow. We always have to mow the landfill. Keeping the road up, we have to pay an engineer to oversee it. We have discharge reports that are due, I think, monthly, DEC compliance reports of that nature. So typically, although in the past we've always said, I don't know, what does it come out to be, Mark, for the town? I think it's about $24,000 on average a year for us, right?
Almost exactly $24,000 for each of the last 4 years.
So we had talked about, actually, Scott and I had met with the Joint Landfill Board last year to talk a little bit about it, and we hired a new engineer who's specific. This is his specialty, Rennie Engineering. They do a very good job, and very happy with what Rich does as he oversees this. He does another one somewhere up north. And Scott and I took a look at it, and we had interviewed Rich Rennie for this project. Mark and I have gone over the bills, and it just seems like the bills are always coming out to be just approximately $24,000 a year. Now, the bills that we pay are electric, lab testing, we have maintenance person on the site, and basically oversight by the engineer. These are typical, and mowing. So these are typical bills. Some of the bills, if we pay in advance, we get a break because they submit to us a bill. They say if you pay within so much time, you will get a break, 10 or 15%, which is significant. But because of the way landfill meetings have gone, it's been somewhat like a fire drill. And I don't need to be any call. The town of Fishkill, actually, the supervisor in the town of Fishkill is the head of the board. I sit on the board. That's basically the board. And then we have the town clerk in Fishkill. She's the one who administers the checks. We review the financials every year. And what we'd like to do is pay it in advance, so we don't get stuck with this paying, missing if we could save a few bucks here or whatever, you know. So that's the whole idea with this whole thing. It's not going to be a fire drill anymore. And Mark and I will still do quarterly meetings with the town of Fishkill and the Joint Landfill Board. Mark and I will meet with them in June and in December to go over the bills. Mark always looks at the bills when I bring it back anyway, I get the invoices. But it's just better if we can just pay this ahead of time, so we're going to pay in 2 payments, $12,000 for the first half year, review all the bills in June, and then the second $12,000, and then review again in December. It's got to be paid. We have to be in compliance with DEC. Landfills never go away. This is just our ongoing cost. So that's the story of the East Fishkill Joint Landfill. So that being said, do I have a motion to authorize the payment in that fashion? $24,000 broken into 2 payments, $24,000 broken into 2 $12,000 payments.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion, any questions? I know it's a little odd, but like I say, when you have a landfill, you have a landfill forever, so. Okay, there being none, do I have a motion to authorize the payment? You got that.
Did that. Now you
Oh, I'm sorry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. Resolution number 9 is to authorize the Wickopee Fire Company to replace their sign. Typically, fire companies have signs. Wickopee has their sign actually on our road. It's out at the intersection of Fishkill Road and Westwood Road. They've had a sign there, I believe, for 20 years. They want to replace it. They'd like to put up, not all of the fire guys are in favor of it. They'd like to put up one of these electronic ones so they can just change it back to the station. They come to me, and I'm asking the board because it is actually on town property. They had modified that intersection years and years ago, and the town had allowed them to put it. So I asked the fire company, because they're going to be changing the sign on our property, to write us a letter. They wrote us a letter, so basically that's where it is. So tonight I'm going to ask the board for authorization for the Wickopee Fire Company to change their sign, and as typically we do, we would waive our building permit sign fees. We'll still have to get an electrical inspection, they will pay for that, but we would waive our building department sign fee. So, and that way, if everybody knows where the Wickopee Steak Roast is, you drive by, you'll see the new sign. What it is. So, do I have a motion to authorize Wickopee Fire Company to replace their sign on town property and to waive the building department sign fees?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much. I'll see you at the steak roast. Number 10 is to authorize the town attorney to execute a stipulation of settlement for tax certiorari for, we have 2 grid numbers, and this is the Summerlin Plaza. Tom, they just asked, these are both Summerlin Plaza, Summerlin 1 and Summerlin 2, they're right there, but both adjacent. Councilman D'Alessandro, would you please read the resolution?
Sure.
Please?
Whereas the AMC Wappinger LLC, the owners of Summerlin Plaza, commenced tax certioraries with respect to their 2 adjoining parcels, and the town obtained a preliminary appraisal from a consulting appraiser with respect to these properties. And after various discussions, it was determined that the current assessment of $7 million was in excess of market value, considering the vacancy levels in this plaza. And the following further discussions of resolution to the matter has been recommended to this board. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town attorney, town assessor, and all the other officials of the town being hereby are authorized to settle the above referenced tax certiorari as follows. 2012 and 2013, total assessment from $5 million to $3.785710. and to 3.5 million. On the second parcel, from 2 million to 1.514290, and for 2013, from 2 million to 1.4 million. Be it further resolved that the town attorney be and hereby is authorized to execute a stipulation of settlement in accordance with this resolution.
Thank you, Councilman. Do I have a motion to authorize the town attorney to execute a stipulation of settlement for these tax certiorari? Do I have a second?
Second.
Before we go any further, Tom, I'd just like to ask you, and we've discussed tax certs many times in the past, is there any out-of-pocket refund to the property owners?
On the town's part, it's less than $4,000.
Less than $4,000, okay. And this was settled back 2012, 2013?
This settles the assessment rolls for 12 and 13. The
Okay.
13 roll is used for
This
14
year.
taxes.
Yeah, and so going forward, these will be the new assessed values? Okay, and as we know, they're based upon revenue.
Right, the town's
appraisal,
consultant
yep.
appraiser takes a look at it. There's high vacancy rates in this building, and a commercial building is based on the rent rolls if it's rental property. And so when all's said and done, these numbers, they're more than what they wanted, but it's what our consulting appraiser and the town assessor is recommending to resolve it.
Okay, thank you. Any discussion?
Tom, do they stay at this value? They can't
3 years.
Argue this
They're
for-
frozen for 3
3
years,
years.
other than the normal trending on the assessment roll, because we got 100% value now.
Yeah.
But once the judge signs the order and authorizes the roll to be changed, then it's frozen for 3 years. They can't contest it.
And you know, when you bring that up, one thing that we did a few years ago, which was probably the most painful thing we've ever done in the town of East Fishkill, was the reval. Where we brought everything, we did away with the equalization rate, and New York State recognizes us as being 100% valuation, which was very difficult. Took us a few years to get squared away. But having 100% valuation, I have to commend our assessor, because she does these, as I said, I think last week, talking about the commercial trending that she does, so we can see the trends and where the valuations are going of the commercial property. So I do believe that we're pretty accurate with our assessments, the economy being what it is. Any other discussion?
I have a question for Tom. Tom, I know that we discussed trying to see if we could save any money while we're proceeding with these tax rebates or whatever we may call it. I would like to see the board, if we can, involved in the process and see if we could have these stipulations once the assessed is done, rather than going back and forth from the courts. Try to cut some cost and
Well, what happens is, first of all, once the assessment roll is finalized by the assessor, if the Board of Assessment Review, the appeals board that you appoint, doesn't adjust it in accordance with their grievance, the only way that roll can be changed is with an order signed by Justice of the Supreme Court. So it does have to go to court regardless. Number two, what normally happens as soon as there's and before they can bring a tax certiorari, they have to go to our Board of Assessment Review, where many things are taken care of, if you will. They come in with an appraisal, there's an agreement, and the Board of Review agrees, and they adjust it. So that takes care of many of the issues. The next part is if the Board of Review doesn't feel that the information is sufficient, and they don't do an adjustment, then the property owner has to go to a tax certiorari. At that point, the conversation begins immediately with the town's appraiser. Usually comes in and overlooks what the assessor did, and there's an early assessment made, that is a bad word, but evaluation made to decide, is this one that really needs to be adjusted right away because it is off, or is it one that the property owner is just trying to adjust it? So usually we do catch them within a 2-year time frame, which statistically with all the other towns, we're probably ahead of the curve on that. So obviously, the information when it's filed is we'll make sure you get copies of it right away.
And if I may, I mean, the applicant has plenty of time to talk with our assessor, meet with the Board of Assessment Review. There is a lot of steps, and this is all mandated by state law anyway. That's the law as it is. So I'd say really not that many of them.
Well, actually, I was
end up
just,
in this.
the total town tax levy for town tax is $12 million on the assessment roll.
Yep.
On an annual basis, we have 5 or 6. I mean, with the economy the way it is, some of the commercial properties with the vacancies, so the normal trending doesn't keep up with them. So even with that, I would say we have 5 or 6 of these a year, the last 2 years, maybe 3 years. And the total cost in refunds, the appraisal fee, legal fee, everything, is less than 0.5% of the entire assessment of tax levy. So that's under 60, it's actually only $38,000 for last year. So it really, is very small. A lot of other communities have to borrow to refund the money because of how they get out of whack.
Yeah.
So.
And that's one of the, back to our reval, that's one of the good things, because I know not so much up
Exactly.
here, but down in Putnam and Westchester, they're getting these tax certs, and they're getting levied very big.
And we also coordinate with the county and the school districts.
Yeah.
So if there's anything of significance, because the school district has the right to intervene, they have to be served in the tax certiorari in the county, and we coordinate with them, and they give their opinions also. Please.
I think, understanding, but I think it's a good process, what we have going here.
Do we get any refunds as far as or credits from the schools
You know what
for
happens?
us mediating this?
We refund only the town tax or special districts, then the school districts and the county refund their share of their taxes directly. So
It's not on us.
we're only responsible for it. They have to use our assessment roll, we
Correct.
have to maintain the assessment roll, and they're responsible for their own refunds.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of authorizing the town attorney, yada, yada, yada. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Well, I don't do that, but I'll do that for the tax cert anyway. Thank you very much. That's it for the resolutions this evening. Budget transfers, I believe we do have some budget transfers that the comptroller has provided to the town board. And I know the comptroller's made himself available for any questions on the budget transfers. I believe probably some of these are getting caught back in 2013, 2014, what have you. Any questions for the comptroller on the budget transfers?
Good job on the report.
All right, there being none, do I have a motion to authorize the budget transfers as submitted?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you very much, Mark. I agree with Peter. Thank you for your work. I think that's it for tonight's meeting. Next town board meeting is March 13th is the workshop, and March 27th the next regular voting meeting.
Can I just give one little report from the highway?
Absolutely.
I met with the highway superintendent today, and he asked me to please read this. And I said I could put it off for 2 weeks, but by hopefully then winter will be over. It is becoming disturbing that residential snowplow contractors are plowing snow from the driveways straight out onto the road. And also people are using their snow blowers and their shovels and throwing it out on the road. Please keep it off the road before somebody gets hurt, because these guys that go out and plow all night long and make your road nice and pretty, and then you look in the rear view mirror and you see a guy running the snow blower and the town trucks, the private plow companies out into the road. Please stop doing it immediately before somebody gets hurt, because there's some roads that you can drive through and the town is not going back and cleaning them as much as they can. The roads are only half there because these long driveways just pushing it down the road. They're not even pushing it over the bank. They're leaving it in the middle of different roads. And a lot of roads are only one lane right now. And if we get the 10 inches they're calling for on Monday, the road will be even skinnier.
Can we pass a resolution that winter's over?
Oh, somebody said that the
I
other
know,
day.
I wish we could. Unfortunately, boy, this has been a tough winter, but the highway department is dealing with it in a very good fashion. It is getting to be a problem where to put the snow, so that's a problem.
The homeowner is liable for that snow.
Yep.
If it comes up your driveway, you're liable.
Yep. Any other?
I just want to make a comment for the public. the reason I abstained from voting on those resolutions for the recreation and the police department, it's not because of any other reason other than I did not attend the meeting law. I did not attend the executive session, and the reason for that is because I strongly believe that an executive session should be called during a town hall meeting in front of the people, and that is the reason why I abstained from voting. Thank you.
Okay, all right. We typically, especially when we do things like interviews, we schedule those ahead of the town board meeting so we don't inconvenience the people. I don't know if you want to just be here and sit here and look at 5 empty chairs for as much time. But that's typically what we do. We can go into executive session for personal interviews, contractual matters, matters of litigation. Tom, any comments on the
Well, and during the
executive
interviews, there's
session?
no action taken. I mean, the interview
No.
will go over it, there's no actions.
Yeah, so if you'd rather not, that's fine, that's your prerogative, obviously. That's why we do our executive sessions, and, very good. Anything else?
Yeah, I have a couple things. I did ask the comptroller, thank you. You sent the memo to the rest of the board also. I asked him to make a memo to the town board. During the budget last year, we had extensive discussions about cutting insurance, and I wanted to know what the final numbers were, and the final numbers were that we saved over $250,000 with changing one of our health plans and changing our general liability insurance to the New York State, was it reciprocal, right? We saved over $140,000 there. So, you know, almost $400,000 in savings to the town, which, thank you, Comptroller, Supervisor. Also, I'd like to thank a lot of residents who have called about the new show that Councilman Franco and I are doing called Spotlight on East Fishkill. If anybody doesn't know, it's a new show that we're doing to help local businesses. We visit 2 businesses every month, and we feature them on Channel 22, and it's played throughout the day and night. And it's a free service that we give, and we give free advertising to these businesses. And a lot of people have called, and I thank you for calling because, you know, it makes you feel good that we're doing something nice for the businesses. And if anybody wants to put your business on there, I've received many emails already. My email is on Channel 22, or you could call the supervisor's office. Please call. So thank you.
I'd also, just to add, I'd like to thank Mike Miner, who's our video guy, who's been helping us out a lot, and he's doing a great job with that. So we really appreciate his help, especially on Spotlight on East Fishkill.
Well, that is actually a program that Councilman Franco and Councilman D'Alessandro came up with to spotlight our local businesses, and I got to admit, I think it's pretty cool. And again, if any of our local businesses would like to be profiled in the spotlight, you can contact my secretary. Don't call me because I don't know how to schedule that one. That's up to you guys.
Well, I have to give some credit to the attorney
doing a great job
for that one.
You guys are doing a great job on that. I think that's it for tonight. There's nothing else. Peter, did you want to make any comment? No, you already did. You talked about highway. Tommy, you're good. Everybody's good? All right.
I gotta ask a question. There is public comment, am I right? Can I?
If you'd like to speak, certainly.
Well, I mean,
Typically, we have it on the agenda. I didn't see it on the agenda tonight, but if you want to speak, please, feel free. No, feel free.
That's uncalled.
Okay. Oh, I'm asking you.
The last time I was here, I didn't know there was no public comment until we got here. So you're saying that, to me, a little condescending.
No, I'm not condescending at all.
Yeah. When I ask is there public comment, you're telling me that because it's not here means that there's no
No, you can
public-
speak. Anybody in the audience can speak.
So,
Please, feel free.
were you wrapping it up for the night?
Yeah, I think we could, we
So
did
why
everything.
wouldn't there be public comment? No, things progress. Let me say.
No, go ahead.
Things progress. People want to comment on them. And we were suppressed last meeting. We would have been suppressed tonight, maybe if I didn't pop up. So
You
what's
say
this
whatever-
about?
Say whatever you want, Bob. Last meeting was a workshop. We don't have public comment at workshop.
No, the last town board
The
meeting.
reorganization meeting?
the last town board meeting. I
Okay.
believe, and correct me if I'm
In
wrong, there
December.
was no public comment.
In December.
Was that the last one?
I'm asking, I guess that would be the
Okay.
one.
So then that's what I'm saying. So now tonight would have been another one. Well, what's up with that?
Nothing.
Oh,
There's nothing.
okay.
Please feel free to speak.
Well, I don't know. If there's anybody who wants to comment, I'll sit down and let them comment because I got a few things that I want
Okay.
to take on. I don't know if there's anybody else.
Anybody like to
And
speak?
thanks
I know
for letting
Marty
us
has
have
his
a
hand
public
up.
comment.
Sure.
I'd like to see a little more police presence on my street. Cut down on these 50-mile-an-hour drivers in the 30-mile speeding zone
Okay.
before I throw some rocks at them. And another thing, I hope you got a lot of asphalt on hand. So they're potholes
I know.
all over the place.
I know
I
it.
got 4 of them right across the street from me.
Yeah, we'll be, as soon as the winter's done, we'll be having patch crews going out, so. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Marty.
Marty, you're next to the chief there. Make sure you tell the chief.
I have a question for Tom Wood, based on what Manny had said about the executive sessions. Is it not law that executive sessions have to be announced at a town board meeting prior?
Well, I gave, when Councilman Marinero brought this up last week, I gave him a memorandum to the whole town board about the process. And basically, there are 2 laws that a municipality has to comply with. Under the town law, in order to have a proper voting meeting, there's certain notice requirements, et cetera, set forth in that law, and that's followed for this evening's meeting. Under the open meetings law, whenever 3 or more members of a town board gather, there has to be notice that there is that meeting. There is no requisite amount of time that has to be given as far as the notice, et cetera. Town law for a formal voting meeting has certain time periods. So what traditionally happens in East Fishkill, and it has been going on as far as I know for about 20 years, is that if there are interviews, which is one of the exceptions to the open meetings law, a board may be in executive session to conduct those interviews to protect the personal privacy of the applicant, because you go through their resume, something might come up, etc. So the way those meetings are scheduled, when the need arises, there's a notice placed on the clerk's bulletin board, a fax is sent to the newspapers, and the councilmen obviously are all notified of that. They then usually arrive a half hour, 15 minutes to a half hour before the meeting. They go into an executive session in the conference room. They meet with the prospective candidates. Then they come back into this room. No votes are taken at that meeting. No decisions are made there. That's why, in fact, the resolutions for the agenda package don't contain names, because until there's a name put forward by the board with a motion, a second, and a vote, we don't know whose name's going to be inserted in that. So I've addressed all of that. I've also I researched it. There's a New York State Committee on Open Government, which is the official body governing public meetings. There are numerous opinions from them that there's no minutes required at a workshop or an executive session when no action is taken. So therefore, the town clerk doesn't come to our workshop night at all. And the executive session is only utilized for interview purposes. There are other limited exceptions that occasionally are utilized. If we're in the midst of union negotiations, obviously you don't discuss those publicly because, you don't want the other side to know what your top dollar amount might be.
Litigation too. We have had a
Litigation,
couple
attorney-client privilege, et
litigation, and
cetera.
that's always been.
So all of that. So the notice is given. The law says as reasonable as practical. So if the supervisor gets all the applications for the Monday and the notice is posted, the councilman are given notice, it's all there.
That's particularly, what you're referring to is particularly for interviewing processes.
Correct.
Interviewing,
I'm talking about
litigation.
executive meetings that are held before virtually every board meeting that's been
There are
had.
no executive meetings held that I'm aware of
The
other
board
than
does
for
not
interview.
meet before the town board meeting
No, sir.
and discuss
No.
matters that are on the agenda.
No,
No.
sir.
Okay?
They discuss items of business at the workshops where they don't take action, and that's public, and that's on Channel 22.
I just want to add to that what the gentleman said. The definition of executive session means that portion of a meeting not open to the general public. And Section 103, subsection 103 says, every meeting of a public body shall be made in the open to the general public, except that an executive session of such body may be called and business transacted in accordance with Section 105 of this article.
Absolutely.
In other words,
But the key sentence, the key part of that sentence, and business transacted. There is
Correct.
no business transacted in executive session. In 36 years of being a municipal attorney, one time a town board that I represented exercised its prerogative to adjourn from this type of a public voting meeting into an executive session, and that had to do with authorizing an absolute sealed bid on a parcel of property that was going up in an auction. Other than that, I've never seen a town board adjourn from a public meeting into an executive session with the town clerk and adopt a resolution. It's very rare.
The only time we need the town clerk, if a vote is taken in executive session.
That's correct.
She has to take the minutes, but we could retire and have a discussion and then come back.
No, you cannot. If you adjourn or if you use an executive session, you must announce what you're doing in that.
Correct.
And so the interviews is one of the exceptions in the open meetings law.
Correct.
In fact, the open meetings law, I think, has something like 8 exceptions.
Right.
And interviewing someone for an appointment to a board or hiring of an employee or to discuss any disciplinary action against a specific individual, you're entitled to do in private.
See, subsection 105, it addresses that. It says, upon a majority vote of its total membership taken in an open meeting. In other words, somebody could make a motion.
You could
retire.
move right now.
I'm sorry.
You could make a motion right now to go into executive session. You would have to announce one of those reasons. And the section of law that you're pointing to is the law that would allow this board and the town clerk to go into executive session and to take action with respect to one of those categories. But it's never been done here in the town of East Fishkill.
Correct. It's never been done, but what I was referring is some kind of transparency in front of the people. Sometimes those people sit over there and they don't know that a meeting went on discussing the appointing of some
Well,
members to the
it's
board.
posted on the official signboard, which is what the law requires, and it's also forwarded to the news media,
public
which is
notice.
what the other provisions of the open meetings law require. And I think I went through all of that in the memorandum, which I gave to the entire town board last week. And there are opinions from Mr. Friedman, who's chairman of the Committee on Open Government, and one of the opinions clearly says that if it's a workshop meeting, an executive session where no action is taken, then no minutes are required.
Tom, I've attended the session meetings of towns, Association of Towns, and it was really stressed that those sessions by lawyers, that an executive session. So let's change the name. Let's not call it an executive session. Let's call a meeting before a town hall meeting. If we call it an executive session, we are risking to confuse the people, and we're risking to go and breaking the meeting law, which is a state law and a town law.
I would disagree with that.
I respectfully disagree with you.
If
We're not
I
breaking
may
any law.
say, number one, when we go to executive session, which we call typically for interviews of matters of interviews or such, there's never votes taken. It's publicly noticed as per the law. And the attorney has given me, all of us, the attorney has given us all his opinions and the documents why he feels that way. I'm very comfortable with the attorney's decision, and I don't see any need to call it anything else. I don't think that would be appropriate.
I mean, it does say it's an executive session for interviews for,
Yeah.
Right, whenever
That's what we
you're
do.
reviewing the employment history, background of an individual, a particular individual. Now, it's different if you were thinking of creating a new job title, and you're talking about the job title and duties itself. That's not appropriate for executive session. But once you've done that and you've canvassed the civil service list or advertised for an appointment to a board and you actually have resumes, then the law clearly allows you to have an executive session to interview those parties.
right.
Tom, how would that be any different if we have to discuss letting an employee go?
That's allowed in the exception, that's discipline. But you can't let the employee go in that meeting.
No.
You would have to
Discussion.
come and do that at a town board meeting. And quite frankly, I think the public should be, very clear with this. Even at the workshop, which you have every second Thursday of the month, the town board sits here and discusses everything, but there's no action taken. That's just a meeting of the town board to discuss informally issues before the town. Anything that needs action is then put on a regular town board meeting, as we're having tonight, where it's in writing, the town clerk's here, the minutes are taken, et
So
cetera.
would you agree that if an employee has to let go and there is a discussion of the board, that we have to make a motion at a town hall meeting to go into executive session?
You don't have to do it from this meeting. You could do it at a workshop because
regardless
you're
of
not
whatever
taking
meeting.
action.
But we could do, what we do is that we post notice that the town board will be meeting an executive session such and such a time for purpose of disciplinary employment interviews of personnel matters. Personnel matters are
It's the
something
same
that's
as
allowed.
school boards usually meet. If you look at notices and schedules for school boards, they usually actually regularly schedule one night a month in their meetings, executive session, because the school board not only has personnel issues, but they sometimes have special education children, the classifications, et cetera, and they have actually a specific night set aside in executive session to discuss those matters. But they, too, can't take votes in them. They have to do that at a public meeting. And the school board, when it votes on a particular student, actually does it by an ID number and doesn't reveal the student's name.
Okay? Anybody else?
John, well, not just John alone, but the board. I watched the meeting that you were just talking about, the workshop meeting, thanks. And there were a couple of things that were said there that I would like to make a comment about, or, one of the things that you had said was that you pretty much, I don't mean you specifically, that you pretty much have control over the housing that's going to be going on across the way?
We own the property.
Yeah, but
We will be setting the criteria for
Right,
it. Yeah.
exactly the point I'm getting at. One of the things that you said was that, you wanted to start off with, you wanted to do this in segments, whereas before you were going to just... So you had mentioned seniors or whatever. I'm not sure that I understand who's really, a priority to go into this development, okay? Certainly love seniors, have no objections to... And then you had mentioned veterans, it's all great, but when you say that you want to do it in a segment, for lack of a better word, what would be wrong with who you decide should be buying there, renting, whatever the case? What's the matter with intermingling veterans with seniors and whatever? Why will it be another thing that this country does to divide people?
Okay.
Okay is not an answer.
What I'm saying, I know whatever answer I say, all I'm saying is I think there's a need in this town for senior housing.
Absolutely.
That's where
I
I'm going to
don't
leave it.
disagree.
And
All
if a
I'm saying
veteran's a
is,
senior, they could live there.
Absolutely.
And if a veteran's a senior, over 55 or 62, whatever the age is set.
No, what Bob is
Yeah,
saying...
no, what I'm saying
But
is
what Bobby is
instead
saying
of-
is just open it up to everybody.
no.
No, really, I thought that's what you're saying, intermingling.
that.
I thought you
didn't
didn't
say
want to
that.
split people, Bob.
I didn't say that.
Okay, what did you say?
I said when the first segment is done, why does that have to just be for seniors in that first segment? Or just veterans, or just whoever, or what? What's the matter with veterans next to seniors, or whoever? Just mingling what you're gonna do there.
Isn't
Why
that what
does it
just
have?
said- Isn't that what I just said?
What?
That you'd have everybody in there?
No,
That's what I just said.
Bob, no, I think,
Maybe I'm missing the point.
Bob, part of it is, when you go through and you build a seniors development,
Yeah.
you have to meet different ADA, American Disability Acts and stuff like that.
Okay.
You gotta have elevators if you're going over so many floors, you gotta have certain slopes and ramps.
In that
And their
unit.
houses,
In that
and
unit.
their apartments are gonna be built differently
Yeah.
than,
So what?
well, no, but if you're asking a guy to come in and build this,
Yeah.
and he's gotta give you a price on 100 units just for a number,
Yeah.
well, if it's gonna meet this criteria, it's $150. But if he can build it for me or for you, he can build it for $100. And whatever they give us for a number is gonna be a number, and they gotta stay within that number and still make money eventually. If you're building an apartment for Tommy, it's one price. If you're building an apartment for somebody that's handicapped or
Right.
senior,
Right.
it's gonna be almost double the money.
So-
You put a handicap bathroom in your
So
apartment
I
over
think
there.
you at least see where I was going with my questioning.
But if you're looking for a number and you're asking.
Well, I wasn't looking for a number.
No, but if you're
I'm just
asking a
looking to-
contractor,
I'm
that's
just
what we're
looking
doing.
to have people
We're asking
socialize
people to come in and give us a
rather than be in a
number.
group where seniors are here and veterans are there and other ones are there and other ones are there. I just didn't
But
get
when
it.
you're
I think I
building-
understand your confusion. I'd explain. Is that I believe that initially the request for across the street would be for regular at-market level housing. There's no subsidies, there's no other funding. So therefore, on that scenario, the only restriction allowed by law is an age restriction of either 55 or 62. So you can't restrict it in any other way. Normally, when you hear veterans housing, that means that it's, for lack of a better word, a subsidized or reduced housing, or it's has some sort of support services, whether it be for physical needs or mental needs. So that's somewhat like a veterans housing, a separate thing. But the project across the street, as it's being discussed now, is going to be an age-restricted 55 and older.
Right.
But that doesn't preclude a veteran from living there if he or she is 55 or older.
Right. I understand that.
Okay.
And I appreciate the explanation. What I was making reference to was where they're going to be.
They'll be mixed in just like anybody else.
Okay. That's not what I understood from the workshop meeting. That the
Well-
first segment was going to be for veterans only, for seniors only.
No.
Okay. That's what I thought I heard. I'll have to
Because
look.
the intent is that, at least the board discussion now,
All
is
right.
that it's going to be at market rate. And at market rate, the only restriction you can put on housing and not violate federal law is 55 and older or 62 and older.
Okay. All right. Let me move on. I got a couple of more things. When this project goes forward, do you think that you have any control over putting local workers to work over here?
Can we put a restriction in? We can put something we would prefer it. I don't think you can require it. I think you'd say that
Well,
local contractor.
I mean, you had, and the reason I say that is because when I watched the meeting, you said you had pretty much control over what's going on.
That's
And if
the
you
What's
put
going to be built, what's going to look
stipulations
like.
in, there's a lot of local people that are out of work, and I don't see any reason that they will be bringing outsiders in here when we need people to go to work in town.
I don't know if we legally, we can require them to.
Okay, so what I would ask that you consider that.
If we legally can, yeah,
Yeah, if you legally can,
yeah, absolutely.
All right, then I think that should be a stipulation, only my opinion. I know they're gonna be doing a lot of road work. Sure comes the spring for the potholes. I don't know to what extent they're gonna be doing anything, but for the record, and pertaining to me personally, this blacktopping has changed the elevation of my property. It's caused me an extensive amount of money to keep up with every time they raise the road, and I don't want it to continue, at least in front of my property. I cannot afford to keep raising driveways, adding sidewalks. One of the driveways right now is almost impossible to get into without bottoming the car out. One of them happens to be a rental. I'm getting, the story from that individual about the driveway. I'm not in a position to really rectify that right now. I don't know where it's going to lead me, but this is a result of the town just coming and blacktopping with little regard for the consequences that they put on somebody else. So for the record, I'm telling you now that I want this to be considered, and I really would like it to be rectified. It doesn't make any sense to just go and do something for the sake of doing it without considering the repercussions, okay? And again, I'm saying it for the record, because I know I've said it before, but being about writing a letter, no, I didn't write any letters. I didn't know how to write letters. The grade on the road in front of South Hillside Road, in front of my house, 611, the water travels to my side of the road. There's 2 catch basins on the other side of the road. Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Anybody could see that. I don't understand why it's that way. I'm not going to question it or knock anybody for doing that work. I need a catch basin on my side of the road to collect the water that does not go into those 2 catch basins, okay? I'd like to have some curbs put around so that I don't take the salt water running onto my property going into my well. Let that water run somewhere along the curb that's not going to damage what I have. And the pond that I spoke about numerous times, regarding the valve, you guys want to keep opening, regulating the valve, doing what you want to do with the valve, and you're ruining my property.
You'd have to speak to Councilman.
No, I don't have to speak to Mr. I do not have to speak to him. While he is the liaison for Hillside Lake,
Okay, make your
I am
statement.
also speaking to the rest of the council
Make
people.
your statement, yeah.
What do you want to do? Pawn it all off on Manny or Manuel? You want to eliminate yourself from the problem? No. This is a problem that has been caused by, I don't want to say you personally, been caused by whoever, and I want the matter resolved. My property is getting destroyed, it's getting ruined, and I've mentioned it, and I'm not going to go back on all of that. I want to go forward with it. I want to be made whole again over there in a fair way. That's all I'm saying regarding that. I don't think I'm asking for anything out of the ordinary. We spoke about an easement. I'm willing to give a temporary easement to get the work done. I can't afford to have my property continue to be destroyed over there. It's not fair. All right? Can I get a response to that?
Not tonight, I have to think about it.
Okay. And when might I get a response to that?
To which one? The last one?
To the one that you have to
To the
think
last
about?
one? To the one about your property and the
Yeah.
valve and the water
Yeah,
that goes into?
to all of them, John.
To all of them, Bob?
To all of them.
You know, I know you don't believe I'm not the highway superintendent, so obviously I can't speak to the
Oh,
highway
I know you're not the
You know
highway
I'm not the
superintendent. I know you're the town
superintendent, so
supervisor. I voted for you.
I cannot address the
I
catch
voted for
basins.
you. I
Once,
didn't vote for
maybe
you as
twice.
the highway superintendent. I voted for you as the town supervisor. So why would you say that?
Because I'm not the highway superintendent, so
Yeah,
would
but
you
why
bring-
would you say that I'm
If
saying
you
that?
let me finish, I'll let you know why I just said that, because I don't, excuse me, sir, let me respond to this. Being not the highway superintendent, I can't speak for the highway superintendent to say, we'll put a catch basin in, we'll put these curbs in, these are highway matters. The highway superintendent doesn't work for me, he's an independently
Right.
elected official.
Okay, but it is on record what I said now.
Yes, it is.
Okay?
Yep.
And I feel like you're picking on me when you did what you just did to me. And there's no reason for that. I'm here as a man stating my case. Don't take it personal. You know I voted
No,
for you for
but I'm
town
just saying
supervisor,
that-
not for the highway
But the highway
superintendent.
superintendent, I cannot speak for the highway superintendent.
No, I'm answering.
Now you're taking- now you're taking-
I don't want
yeah.
to let that remark go. It's
Okay.
uncalled for.
No,
I don't treat you like that.
I do not think that,
I don't treat you like that. I'm not condescending to you.
I'm not condescending to you. I'm not condescending to you, but when you ask me to do things that are the responsibility of the highway superintendent, I don't
You're
have
out
that,
of order.
I do not have that authority.
You're out of order.
Okay. Anybody else like to speak?
I was up here a couple of months ago asking for an update on the stormwater remediation project. And from what I understand, the third failed attempt at getting a grant has come and gone. So I'd just like an update on what's going on with that.
Yeah, we have 2 other grants pending on the stormwater. One's pending with the FEMA. What we're looking to do is we have an application with FEMA as far as we made an application under this last hurricane. That we don't know. They have different levels. It's up to like a level 5 out of level 9. We have 4 projects, that being one of them. We've gotten no response in the last 2 months, so I don't know where New York State is going with this. If we get denied under this FEMA, we actually could reapply under Community Development Block Grant. That's what Congressman Maloney's office has suggested to us. So that one's still pending. And we had another one with DEC that, Mike, I'd have to check the date on when that one would be, but that's still a few months down the road.
When is FEMA due?
We had thought they were going to make their determination by now, but I don't know what's going on with the state government. So the 2 entities we're really waiting on is DEC and this FEMA project.
What is the plan if neither of these come through? We've been 3 years into this, 3.5 years into this now. 3 failed attempts at when we were told, we were called back and surely we're going to get it this time.
Yeah,
What's the plan? The grant thing is not working.
No. The plan? A plan with Hillside Lake, again.
The stormwater project in particular.
Oh, with the stormwater project in particular? Then if we didn't get the grant, we'd probably do it as part of our routine maintenance, putting in deep sump catch basins along the way. We wouldn't be into the lake itself. We'd be doing it as part of the piping project.
And does that meet the DEC requirements?
Oh, yeah.
And we'll have records of when those catch basins are pumped?
Oh, yes.
Because we don't right now.
We have records that we submit for the MS4, the annual MS4, and actually we're looking into getting a firm a third-party firm to just do that for Hillside Lake.
Okay, could you send those records to the Hillside Lake Board?
Could I send those records to Hillside Lake?
Excuse me? I asked the Highway Department for those records, and I was told there were none.
They should be part of the MS4 record. I don't know if they're in the record that we send up to Albany. I could find out where the MS4 records are. As far as that, I'm sure they keep a log on it. And regardless, we are looking to having another firm come in and actually just do all the basins and have them submit to us. I'll see if there's any records, if you'd like to send me an email.
So, do you believe personally that adding more storm basins is going to solve anything there?
I'm not saying add more storm basins. What I'm saying is to replace the ones that are there with deeper sumps.
Okay, and then pump them routinely?
Yes.
And have a viewable timeline that you'll be pumping them regularly?
Yeah.
Okay. And on the last comment, we tried to push Bobby off onto Manny because he was asking a question as a Hillside Lake resident. You appointed Manny as liaison to the Hillside Lake Board.
Yes, we did.
Not to Hillside Lake.
Well, we had hoped that he would, and I believe that he did say that he would be working with Hillside Lake residents.
What he's officially appointed as.
Excuse me?
I'm going by what he's officially appointed as, so therefore, any Hillside Lake resident, as well as any East Fishkill resident, has the right to come up here and ask questions of the board.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
John, one other thing that I forgot for the record is that pertaining to the stormwater, I need a catch basin on the other side of Lake Road, opposite my pond, to stop whatever sediment and everything else is just getting flushed into my side of the road. All right? And if I seem like I got a little upset, God bless you, and lost a little control, I did. But it's not right to treat somebody the way you did. Okay? I think I come here as a concerned citizen, concerned resident, with legitimate arguments, and I'm not going to be intimidated. I don't think I need to be spoke to condescending or anything. It's uncalled for. I think you need to reevaluate how you address people's circumstances or comments or whatever else. And don't take it personal. It's not personal. I'm venting, and, you know, I'm frustrated. I think I've been really patient about a lot of things. And the tree, you know, it bends so far and that's it. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I didn't get any place trying to do things in what I thought was diplomatic, and I'm revisiting it, and that's it. I need to get some resolve to this. I think that I afforded everybody that I spoke to more than an ample amount of time to get some resolve to it. And I'm starting to feel like the nicer that I am and the more considerate that I want to be, because I figure you're busy and everybody's busy, whatever, it's almost like you hurt the ones that you love the most. I mean, it's crazy. So should I come and pound on the door every day, or should I, you know, give you time to work on it and figure that you're going to work on things? And then, you know, I'm not even going to say the amount of time that passed, but a sufficient amount of time has passed, and nothing has been done. Nothing that I ever asked for. All right?
Anybody else like to speak? With that, do I have a motion to close?
One more comment. Let me see if I can get a little laughter. You said before about the governor, that he didn't answer you very clearly. But isn't that what most politicians do? They don't answer very clearly. So it's just another thing, you know. Should be used to that. Isn't that what you guys do? I'm joking, John.
Do I have a motion to close the town board meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much.